Hi everyone. So yes, my name is Adrian, and for 15 years I've helped Waze build its map, um, and it's a map that is built by its community of users. So you can imagine the upside is agility, lower cost, local accuracy, but the risk is chaos. Thousands of people editing a map in real time at the same time. So this talk is about the lessons that I've learned while managing this community in order to empower the community, empower the collaboration, while at the same time maintaining the quality and the integrity and the reliability of the product. When I say the product, I mean the Waze map. But first, what is Waze? First of all, can you please raise your hands who know what Waze is? All right. So I'll skip this slide to save some time. I just want to say that for me, the biggest revolution of Waze is how the map is built. Because unlike others, Waze didn't purchase a base map and never paid cartographers to do it. Instead, they developed an online community, an online editing platform to edit the map and build the map by the crowd. And so yeah, in the first years, in the early years, imagine users driving with their phones open with an empty canvas, just with a little Waze icon munching dots along the route. They would go online at home, log in into the editing platform, and convert that route that was tracked in their phones. It was the early days of iPhone, early days of GPS, the first years that we had permanent connectivity, and they would convert that into a real street where people could navigate with the app. And it would go live in 24 hours. So it was a revolution. And for me, it's the biggest revolution of Waze. And yeah. However, it has a challenge, of course. What happens when everyone can shape your product? The map is the base on which people can navigate on Waze. How do you allow these fast and decentralized contributions while at the same time making sure that you keep the integrity of the product? So yeah, on the one hand, the community empowerment fuels innovation, local accuracy, as we said. It keeps the costs down. It gives more local knowledge. And the product integrity, the map, the high quality of the map, it's what brings the users. It's what creates user trust, user reliability. So users will come when they can use your product. And these goals often pull in opposite directions. And so the goal of the community manager in this case is how to balance both and make them thrive. So in my opinion, the way to do this is by a combination of guardrails and self-management. And I like to compare it with messy play for children. First of all, you need to set the guardrails, right? You make sure that the environment is waterproof, that the clothes are old, that the paint used is non-toxic, and that's the guardrails. That's the environment where they are going to play. And then you let them go wild. You let them do whatever they know to do best, which is play, and that's self-managing. So in the case of Waze, it was something similar, and I invite you to analyze the two components of this, guardrails and self-management. First of all, the guardrails. How far are we willing to let our users, when they are contributing to our product, how far are we letting them to go? What will be beyond their capabilities? So I like to compare it with a basketball court because it sets the boundaries very clearly within which the community will work. And even it has internal limits, internal boundaries where the sub-communities can also play. And I will tell you about a couple of guardrails that Waze has in place. There's many of them. Just an example, logged segments and suggested edits. For example, when you are a new user, you are allowed to edit only the segments that are either unlocked or locked at your level, not something that is locked at a higher level. So for example, if there's a very important avenue in the town, it will probably be locked at a higher level because that ensures navigability for the users. And we don't want inexperienced users to make edits on that segment. Of course, users, as long as they gain trust and experience, they can go up in the levels and edit segments that are locked in higher levels. And the second one is, interestingly, it's a relatively new feature, which is suggest edits. It's new users right now. They can contribute to the system by suggesting edits. And they are moderated by more senior users. And they can do real edits when they gain the trust and they get the experience. This is a couple of examples. There are many other guardrails, but this is just to give you a hint of how you set the environment so that people can contribute to your product, they can build and shape the product, but within certain constraints that keep the safety of the product. The other part of this, and the more interesting for us community managers, is that the community manages itself. It's to strive to self-management through incentivization and gamification. How do you build and nurture a system with the top goal of achieving self-management? We didn't just open the map and let everyone do whatever they wanted. It's a layered system. New users start with a small area, they gain experience, they gain trust from the community, and they can enlarge and expand the area where they can edit the map. So this layered permission system is back the dynamics, as I said, of incentivization and gamification, because like in a game, users are incentivized to contribute, but in this case, it's not immediate rewards, it's not immediate gratification, it's more about the power that you gain. The more you contribute, the more power you have, and the higher the status you gain in the community. But editing the map is not the only thing that the community does. There's a corner for everyone to contribute with whatever they can, whatever they want. And this provides them different badges, of course, and this gives them, on one hand, enhanced responsibilities within the community, and on the other hand, they give them credentials of expertise. So it's a system. It's a system that in gamification psychology, it reinforces their bona fides and gives them additional legitimacy within the community hierarchy. And this is a system that's, more importantly, it's replicable and scalable, both at the local level and at the global level. During my tenure at Waze, the community grew so much, it became so complex that, of course, we had to build a layer of super users. And this is the layer that more or less interacts with the staff. And at the top of it, we have what we call the global champs, which is a layer of super users who have made contributions at the global level. Some of them have been with Waze, editing the map and doing other things for more than a decade. And so the level of trust that the staff deposits on them is very, very high. They basically are the ones who run the community with a little bit of support and guidance from the staff. The global champs can give and take permissions from other users. They can set the rules of editing, the protocols of editing. They filter the feedback and escalate whatever is necessary and whatever they don't. They are, in my opinion, they are the personification of self-management. So whenever you establish a community that can self-manage, that can manage itself, it's the community that policies itself and policies the product in order to keep this integrity of the product, keep the contribution of others, at the same time maintaining the quality of the product. But of course, all of you know that communities don't live only on the transactional arena. The relational one is very, very important. One of Waze's strengths also to maintain this contribution on the one side and the quality on the other side is the relationships that people do, the people weave in their interactions, and they have meetups, and believe me, meetups come in all forms. Global, local, Waze organized, community organized, online, offline. This is me, by the way. And in Rio, it was beautiful. And But it's very important because the connections and the bonding, the bonding and the altruism that they experience during these meetups is what creates this cohesiveness with the community and the culture of the community. And this culture cascades into the rest of the community when they come back home. And they find it much easier to collaborate with each other and to cascade this culture to the other members who are contributing with the map. So very important. Some communities, I would say most of the communities of the Waze, they became very, very mature, very engaged, and they have developed a sense of ownership over their edits, over the map. And this is another important element that allows to have contributions and maintain the quality of the product. Because whenever you edit one segment, you feel that it's yours and you don't want anybody else to touch it. The job of the community manager, in many cases, I have experienced it myself, is to persuade the community to stay open to new users, to new editors, because you need the new blood in the system. Otherwise, you risk having too much workload on the existing editors and eventually compromising the quality of the product. So it's important to keep that door open, being welcoming, and try to balance the ownership of the map and the trust on new users. And yes, sometimes things go wrong, even when creating the slide. But the important thing is that, first of all, Waze doesn't strive for perfection, right? It's the 80-20 rule. You need to have a navigation app that works, that is good enough for its users, that allows users to outsmart traffic together. As long as the mission is delivered, then the goal is achieved. So you don't strive for perfection. And the other thing is that these are learning opportunities. These are not just errors. This is an opportunity to grab the user and integrate him into the community and educate him or her and make him part of the community. And we worked a lot with that, and we helped the community a lot with that. And it allows the community to grow. So, what I learned at Waze, I think, can apply to any product that relies on crowdsourced contributions to shape the product. Because you can't, of course, just open the gates and hope for quality immediately. But on the other hand, you can't clamp down and expect innovation. So the magic is balancing trust with structure. And it's important to remember that once you set the guardrails, remember that empowerment, yes, but without structure, it can lead to chaos. And structure without trust can lead to stagnation. So you need to balance between them. You need to give trust, and you need to strive for the good enough, not for perfection. Remember, of course, perfect is the enemy of the good enough. Final takeaways. So I try to remind myself that to build a living product is messy. It brings with it tension. It brings uncertainty. But at the same time, it brings insight, care, and deep loyalty. At Waze, what I learned is when people feel part of something bigger, they show up with integrity and they replicate that integrity to the others. So the job of the community manager is not to choose between empowering the community or keeping the product safe. It's about creating, building, and nurturing a space that allows both sides to thrive for the sake of the product and ultimately for the sake of the user. So that's it for me today. Thank you very much.